Oh, so Stephen, does the landlord have to register, or can it be done by the agent?
There are two schools of thought here, that the landlord will have to register because there is an element of personal details that they have to do. If they are with an agent, again, that's, as we said, part of this is in consultation as to know exactly what's going to happen. One of the things we have been told is, from a monetary point of view, we're looking at £20 to £30, so you're not looking at huge amounts of money. But what we don't know at the moment is that by property or by person, because there are again two schools of thought out there.
Well, we've got a few questions coming in now, so
Okay.
should we answer some? So we've got Mike.
Sure.
Are you saying that for tenancies which were ASDs and converted to periodic tenancies now require an assured tenancy agreement?
Okay, on the 1st of May, every tenancy that is in place at the moment will become an assured tenancy. That is going to be the law. Whether you provide the written statement or your notice, that in some respects they're saying you don't need to. I would belt and braces, we are going to be doing it for our landlords, purely to make sure that everything is in place.
And we've also had Joe. Thank you, Joe. Joe's put, yes, I'm on the government pilot, and some landlords may be asked by their local authority to engage in the pilot to ensure it is fit for purpose. If all goes well, the database could be introduced by November 26. Yes, it will be a landlord that has to register. I'm hoping then that answers Karen's question, which is, can you clarify when the registering has to be done by, please? I'm hoping Joanne has answered that. Mike has then put, what about properties owned by a company? And then Cynthia's put, what if you have a property manager? You as landlords have to register. I
think Joanne's been helpful there to say it is by the landlord. As I said, there is an element, as I've seen, of personal information that people would actually have to give, so that wouldn't be appropriate. With regard to properties owned by a company, I haven't seen that legislation, Mike, so I'll put hands up and basically say I don't know the answer to that.
No, I haven't, but I would be assuming it's going to be a director.
I would say
if I had to,
yes.
We haven't. We're not holding our hands there. We will see. But I would assume that it would be a director that would have to do that. Anyway, I think that's all the questions for now. Thank you very much. We're still on phase 4. Thank you, Matthew's flicking. So phase 4, again, we're not going to go into too much detail here, but phase 4 is obviously long term. This is at least going to give us some webinars for many years to be able to talk about, Max. We're always going to have something to come in, but this is obviously long term, quite a few years in advance. But we've got MEES, which is minimum energy efficiency standards. Got there. So it's a tongue tie.
EPCs.
EPCs.
For those.
Yeah. EPCs. If anybody's thinking, what on earth is she going on about? So, at the moment, quickly, just brief explanation. At the moment, rental properties must have an EPC of a rating of at least E to be legally let. Now, there's been lots of discussions about that increasing to a requirement of C. Really important to be clear, there is no confirmed implementation date or anything for that to change at the moment. There's a lot that's still in the air, and we could have actually a whole webinar on that, couldn't we, about what that means, but we're not going to go into that too much. But all I would really say at this stage is I wouldn't recommend really in rushing any major works to get your property up to a C. Because they're changing quite a lot of what's going to happen. They are looking at how they actually rate EPCs at the moment. That's going to change, so that could be a different factor. You've also got obviously when it's actually going to come into play, but I would probably just say on this point actually, and sorry I'm flitting, is if you are an investment landlord and you're looking for a rental property, I would say it is something I would just bear in mind. Look at properties that are a C, or if it's a D or an E, how you get them to a C, what's the cost in order to do that. So that would be the only thing that I would mention there and recommend there. We've also got the creation of the Decent Homes Standard. That's expected in 2035 to 37. Now, it's already in place for social housing. It's going to be coming into place for the private rental sector. Now, when we were reading the written statement today, we were reading, there was something, what did it say, Max? It was, I didn't write it down.
It was the Homes of Fitness, which is actually the Decent Homes Standard. They sort of like lay on top of each other.
They
legally.
They do lay on top of each other, and this written statement basically says you have to comply with that. So we have the feeling that this Decent Homes Standard may just slip in the back door, mightn't it, Max? So just watch out.
This is good news, because you know, the people on here, they provide warm, safe homes. And you know, the fact is, if and we meet them, we don't do business with them. There are people out there that basically will let out a property with a hole in the floor, and there are people that will rent out a property with very substandard heating. Again, we don't work with them, but we know they're out there.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously we've got the extension to AWAB's law, which is to the private rental sector. Again, this is in social housing at the moment, and I'm sure everybody, we've mentioned this time and time again on our webinar, so I'm sure everybody is aware of AWAB's law, but that's going to be coming into play too. And again, we've got a review of the HHSRS, which is the Housing Health and Safety Rating System.
Well done, you.
Thank you. Which basically looks at 29 potential hazards in a property. So they're going to be reviewing that. May even be another 29 by the time they're done, but we will see. But that is coming phase 4, long term, something to talk about closer to the time, should we say, but just to be aware of.
So let's have a look at phase 2. This is what is going to happen on the 1st of May.